Okay. So, this one probably will be short. The dude is just. Their harassment is just intense. And I would think that this dude would get tired of setting up email accounts. But now I know that the one person who was donating that I thought was Thomas is connected to Johnny Dub, who I believe is Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. Setting up a brand new X account as Brian doesn't convince anybody of anything. You know? Do I believe it? No. All I know is that this Johnny Dub in the Yahoo account is directly connected to Thomas Schoenberger. Because that account, Thomas Schoenberger, and that Australian dude, that Chris McKenzie Jones or whatever the hell his name is, I don't those three tag teamed me, harassed the shit out of me for about a year. They're the ones who, it was Johnny Dub and Thomas Schoenberger who bragged that they got Isaac Cappy to go on Nathan Stoltman's radio show. And because they have to brag about their shit. Always. With that said, as in the title, I'm going to do some fundraising. I'm going to do a video, try to fundraise for these taxes, but I've decided that I'm going to also aim to get the taxes paid, but then I'm going to try and also get enough to get a laptop. I need a new laptop. With that, my venue is going to change because I'm sick to fucking death of dealing with these goddamn child traffickers. I've been day in, day out for 2 decades. You know, this channel is what, 15 plus years? And they took it, I did not have access to this channel for 5 years of that. So I had another channel they did manage to get taken down. My blog, I have just said what I needed to say repeatedly over and over and over and over and over ad nauseum. So when I moved my studio into the house, I ended up moving it upstairs. The rooms, I have 2 bedrooms upstairs. My house is considered a story and a half because the rooms upstairs are tiny and they have those weird slanted walls. But I've turned it into my studio and my podcast room. So my venue soon, when I can get everything situated and I don't have to deal with this bullshit anymore. I don't have to deal with the taxes. I don't have to deal with, I have the computer. I'm going to change the venue and I'm going to start, oh please. You know, Gio, I told Sherilyn that because you guys were accusing me of being a dog abuser. And it was the one and only time I've ever abused an animal. And that's why I spoke about it, and it happened 31 years ago. You bragged about murdering my friend on YouTube, 2 years ago? And so, I didn't write it in my book. But I do write about Sarah because she changed my life. I owe Sarah a lot. But again, you guys are really focused, you know? And the only reason you guys know is because I told Sherilyn. That's the only reason, because she's involved in your little Famalam group, just like my stepmother is involved in your little Famalam group. And this is what you do to target people who want to expose your criminal activity as a group. But I think God is about ready to deal with you guys. And I am sick to death of having to deal with it. And, you know, I don't talk about it in my book, dumbass. I doubt you've read my book. You got that information from Sherilyn. That's why it's come up suddenly. All of a sudden, it's here. You know? I didn't kick Sarah. What was worse is that I smacked her head up against the wall. You know? I left a knot on her head by hitting her head on a wall. I was beyond sleep. Well, I'll have to look at my book, but I doubt that that is there. You know? Well, I'll go get a copy of my book right now. Page 88. Page 88. The unraveling begins. Page 88. Page 87. Page 87. It's not like I don't have my book, dumbass. But you guys distort everything. You got that from Sherilyn. What you guys are upset about is that Sherilyn didn't succeed in setting me up. You know? I've already talked about it. I've already talked about it, dude. That's how you know about it. You know? You act like I am hiding stuff. But they know. It happened once. It was serious, extenuating circumstances 31 fucking years ago. You know? Sarah has long since been dead. And everybody loves Sarah. Everybody loves all my animals. You know? This is why I want to get away from this bullshit. This is why I want to get away from this bullshit. I'm sick to fucking death of these fucking child killers. They're all involved in criminal activity. They have fucking criminal records. I would not have even engaged Gio and Daniel Dowd had they not bragged about murdering Owen. You know, I'm making an issue out of it because they bragged about it. Sent me those videos, those live YouTube videos of my town. Someone tried to get into my house at 11 o'clock when Owen was getting buried because I was making a video when it happened. They figured at 11 o'clock, that's when the funeral started, I wouldn't be home. You know, so someone tried to get in. And they bragged about it. And they bragged about it. Great. So you know where I live. You know? I'm just sick to fucking death of the threats. And all of the games. And all of the bullshit that I have to deal with. You know? I just don't see the point, because nothing ever gets, it's being done for entertainment, you know? And so I want to switch to where I'm actually engaging with people and sewing and showing people how to do shit with sewing and all of that. I just think it's a better way to go. I've dealt with this child trafficking bullshit for long enough. You know? It's a thankless bullshit. And they do, if a person is real, they isolate the person. You know? They isolate the person. That's what ends up happening. They target the person, they quiet the individual, and then they'll take them out. That's what they did. They've done it to so many. Isaac Happy is far from the first or the only. You know? The shit that they're doing to me, I'm not the first, far from the only. This is what they do. They are destructive. They revel in their evil. And there's nothing anybody can do to save them. You know? There's nothing anybody can do to save them. And I think that what I need to do is step back and let God take the hand now. And so, if I can get myself out of the dire situations that I'm in, I'm done fucking dealing with all of these fucking child killers. You know? I'm sick of it. It goes nowhere. You know? Especially in my town. Shit. For years, Neil Gross told everybody that no one was after me. I was paranoid schizophrenic. Now they've hung up all those flyers. God knows what they said. Fuck, maybe it's gone back to that. You know? One hell of a fucking delusion. But then being told that they were filmed, the deputies were hanging up flyers around town is just not a promising thing either. And there's nothing I can do about it. But I think that actually sewing and actually dealing with survivors and talking to survivors, because what I get told a lot of times from people is that because I've gone through what I've gone through and who I am today kind of inspires people. You know, they want to bring up what happened with Sarah 31 years ago when I was fucking exhausted. I was fucking a banquet waiter. It was a bad situation all the way around. Only happened once, never happened again. And it was just because she ate my floor. It was expensive to replace. But they can bring up whatever the fuck they want. And it's always distorted. And it's 31 years ago. That's just it. The shit that they talk about with the Hesters, my nephews, trying to insinuate that I molested them when they were kids and I was an adult, even though Eric is only less than 3 years younger than I am. Mark is 8 years younger than I am. So that doesn't work either, but they don't care. It's just the truth will run around the earth 3 times before a lie will run around the earth 3 times before the truth even has its shoes on. And it's all being done. But again, I would never have focused on Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth, which isn't his last name, I guess, had they not fucking bragged about murdering my friend. You know? And I am having a hard time just letting that go. I'm having a hard time that they just break into my house whenever they want. Take whatever they want. It's a harassment kind of thing. You know? Stole shit. Brag about it. You know? It's just... they make a person feel isolated. For me, though, spiritually, I just realized that there's nothing I can do about it. And I just have to have faith. You know? No matter what the fuck happens, it's all profits. And so, if I can get myself out of the situation that I'm in with my house and the shit, I'm switching the venue around and just doing it more on a positive note. I think actually doing projects when I do this shit will be good for everybody. Certainly good for me. And it'll be more positive and conducive. I ain't taking shit down because I don't trust them and I know how that fucking works. You know, you take your shit down and then you're dead a month later. That's what they did to Lori King. They got her to take all of her shit down. She was dead a month later. Isaac Cappy, they got most of his shit down. In fact, you can barely find any of his shit anymore. Got his shit down, he was dead right after that. You know? It's not that I don't care about this child trafficking, but I just don't see repeating myself over and over and over and over again. I just don't see where it's getting anywhere. Where it's getting anybody anywhere. I can't stop them from doing what they're doing, you know? But I will leave them alone as soon as I get away. I'm going to try and raise $5,000. That'll be enough to get the taxes and get a computer. Hey, Gav. It'll get me out of the tax. It'll get me through the taxes and it'll get me to be able to get a new laptop. So I figure, because someone says that they actually take out a chunk. So my goal is going to be $5,000. I need $2,500 for taxes. You know? But I think then the focus is going to be more of a helping people get through what we're having to get through. And because I am a survivor of all of this bullshit, and I credit it with therapy. I found a great therapist, and I've had lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of therapy. And I also credit heaven and God, because trying to live the word, follow the word, has been very helpful. You know, that's the reason why they can't find shit on me. You know, stuff that happened 31 years ago. And then when I was 13, that was what, 40 something, 45 years ago? Fuck. You know, they're in criminal activity right now. And this whole child trafficking thing. But I want out of it. I want to start talking about happier, lighter subjects. I think that I could actually help inspire people get through this really harsh time. If I can get out of this shit myself, and as soon as I can get out of this shit myself, I'm done. I'm just taking a break from this shit. Unless they do something incredibly grievous to me. I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just not gonna talk about it anymore. You know? Not that I'm retracting a fucking thing. But I think that we might be at the end. In fact, I'm pretty sure that we are at the end. And I don't want my last days filled with having to fight them and this bullshit. Fuck, I've done it for 58 years now. You know? I'm exhausted. I'm tired of it. I don't want to do it anymore. You know? I want to go on to some better and brighter and lighter things. Yes. My therapist believes, my psychiatrist believes It was amazing because the second time I ended up going into the hospital was right when I posted the whole Confessions of an Antichrist on my blog. I posted all of it. And that was also the time that I helped that Iranian president dude, because they were doing the same thing with their weapon, the weapons to him. And so I got a hold of every Iranian official, but that's a different story. But I posted everything on my blog, my whole book on my blog. So then I went into the hospital and they put me in the little waiting room, and for 45 minutes I was fine. But then for the last 45 minutes, they were just jamming the shit out of me with their machine. And so when they came to get me, I told them that I didn't feel well. They took my blood pressure and they rushed me by ambulance to Creighton. And so I went into the emergency room with blood pressure that was skyrocketing, that was way over a heart attack and stroke level. So I get into the emergency room and they kept me for 3 days. And the reason they kept me for 3 days is because they couldn't understand why I came in with blood pressure the way I did. But then after I was at the hospital, it went back to being better than normal. And because I worked out all the time. I fucking ran all the time. And I was able to tell them that it was being done to me. And I was able to direct them to my blog and have them read my book. And when I was in Creighton, I had all of my doctors, the nurses, the social worker, and the religion people come. And I told them all the same thing. It was being done to me. They were trying to silence me. You know, they were trying to silence me. Lots of people believe me. Lots of people believe me. I don't really come off as the delusional type. There's nothing that I'm saying that is delusional or it sounds delusional. Especially when you go look at all of the shit, because most of the stuff is screenshots of their own shit. You know, so I can show what they were doing. Let alone, and I'm not a liar. So I haven't, you know, but I'm also not going to get defensive over it either. My therapist knows, though. So does my psychiatrist. Lots of people know. They know that I'm not crazy. They know that I'm not delusional. They know that there's people after me. They hung flyers all over town. It's hard to deny that there aren't people after me. They hung flyers all over town, trying to get someone to show up at my house and shoot me. And they're all over the internet. And people are watching that. And watching them. What I needed to do was to show that there was a reason to look at all these people. And most of them, a lot of them, are convicted criminals. And they need to be looked at as a whole. And what's happening is that they've all been called out by people in all of their lives. Every fucking one of them. It's just, I've been at this for so long, I'm able to put it all together. Because I've had to deal with all of these people all together. Michael Aquino was my handler when I was a kid. As an adult, I told him, they taught the wrong person their shit. They chose me and they by their own hand, I guess. Gabe Hoffman works under Michael Aquino. Thomas Schoenberger is the one who interviewed Michael Aquino at the very end. Works under Michael Aquino. Doug Mesner works for the CIA. It's all CIA. You know? Michael Aquino was CIA. So then you have Lucian Greaves, Doug Masico, aka Doug Mesner, aka Johnny Dub. I guess now aka Brian Word or Ward or whatever the fuck he's calling himself in his new account. You know, the dude has about a zillion aliases. But they're using his satanic temple after school daycare shit to target the kids. Sewer Town's all involved. I call them the Dead Isaac Cappy Club. They're all involved. Daniel Dowd is part of that. Geo Farnsworth, Tara Joyce, Corey Daniel, aka Phoenix Enigma, Alicia Ray, aka the Sicilian Witch, Isaac Cappy's old girlfriend, I guess. You know, married to Corey Daniel now. And Jesse Davis, that Chavez guy, DeFango, Manuel, I think. Manuel Chavez, you know, Craig Sawyer, Ron Patton. It sounds like it's a big group, but it's really not. It's a core small group. They want you to think that it's everyone and it's just invincible. It's all everyone, but it's not. It's this core group, you know. These are the worker bees anyway. But I'm tired of dealing with this bullshit because I just keep saying the same shit over and over and over. I keep calling it out over and over and over, you know? And I just don't see the point of beating my head against a wall. And I think if I could do art projects and actually inspire people and actually teach people something cool to do, because sewing seems to be a fading art, and I'll just incorporate what I do already now with the sewing because it's all one room now. And so I think that actually doing art and inspiring survivors, because I know survivors watch my stuff, you know, I hate to use the word survivors because that denotes that we got out of it. And I don't know about everyone else, but this has been a fucking roller coaster ride. Ebb and tide. When I think that I am done with dealing with it, I'm right back in the thick of it. So Survivor is surviving, you know. I wouldn't say survivor, but maybe surviving it, you know. That's textile artist. I'm going to start doing stuff with, and I'm just going to start talking about positive things and start sewing with colors and stuff and showing people how to do shit. I'm trying not to swear anymore. But I'm telling you, as soon as I can raise these funds, I'm done dealing with all of this child abuse stuff. You know? I'm done. Unless, again, they do something fucking terribly grievous to me. But I want out of it. So all these little rich motherfuckers who are all focused on my tiny little ass, I ain't taking shit down. But I'll stop talking. I'll go to something completely different and just leave it alone. Everybody's after me to do it that way anyway. I'm tired of swimming against the tide with this one. God will have to deal with it. You know? And I think helping adults who've gone through this shit to give people hope that you can get through this. You know? It's a journey, not a destination. Because you never reach. I haven't reached it, and I don't see myself reaching it anytime soon. And I'm 58. Mine is just an old, all of my machines are old. I got them years and years and years ago, and they were used at that. And the one I'm going to be using is a really, really old one, but I figure that that'll be the best, because most people who have sewing machines in their sewing in their thing have old ones, and they kind of make them the same. So I'm going to show people how to thread. That'll be one of the things, you know, showing people how to thread a machine, do a bobbin, and stuff like that. All the basics. And I want to get a laptop so I'm not stuck on my phone. I can do a laptop. But I want to buy the laptop. I don't want anyone to go buy a laptop for me or send me a laptop. I'm not going to play that game. You know? No, we're not even going to play this game. I did not say that. I never really talked about it. I talked about it with Sherilyn. And you tried to get me to go to my book and say that it was on certain page. And it was bullshit. And now we're going to play some other game. And I'm not playing. It's bullshit. And it happened 31 fucking years ago. And the child trafficking bullshit that you're in here trying to fucking protect is happening right now. That's the fucking difference. Sarah happened 31 fucking years ago. It was a one-time deal. All of your shit and all of your criminal bullshit is happening all right now. You're hurting people right now. And I'm not just talking about myself. Right now. Not 31 fucking years ago, but today, right now. That's what you're in here trying to defend. Because you're too fucking stupid when I'm saying that I want to walk away, and you don't want me to fucking walk away. That's the fucking problem. That's the issue. You know? Because you guys are, like, enveloped in fucking chaos. That idiot that keeps making email things. He emails in the middle of the night. It's like he doesn't sleep. And all he does is think about me. I've ever seen in my life. But once I can do the fundraising, you know, the best lesson in life that I've learned is to learn how to say no. And not in a weird or angry way, but just to be able to validate myself and be able to say no. It changed a lot of things in my life. It took a lot of therapy to actually reach that point. I loved the lesson. And not being able to say no puts you in bad situations over and over and over. You know? Nothing I did was ever weird, but people, there's a reason why my ex called me the freak magnet, you know? Because I drew people to me and was always trying to be the proverbial nice guy. 4 of them were women who couldn't deal with the fact that I was gay. It's just amazing how many women want something from gay guys that gay guys can't give, you know? Why don't I get a job? It's funny that you guys always say that. At the same fucking time, you're posting videos about burning my fucking house down. So I really don't want to fucking leave my house because of the shit that you guys fucking do. It's all a goddamn mind trick. You'll say, oh, why don't you get a job? Well, why don't you guys stop fucking threatening to burn my house down? Making videos of it. You know? So it's not even just that you're just arbitrary. You're actually putting a lot of work to it to make all these fucking weird-ass videos. That and the ones where I'm being hung. You know? I look fine to the rest of the world. You motherfuckers look desperate. That's what ends up happening. You motherfuckers look desperate. You want to know what? Everybody who does podcasts actually does fundraising. Every single one. Every single one asks for contributions. That's what ends up happening. Your issue is that you have a problem because, Gio, nobody likes you. And nobody would want to help you because you're a fucking awful person. You're an awful person. You know? Your issue is not that I'm begging. Your issue is that there are people out there who are willing to help. You know? The whole thing about it is always trying to put me on the defensive. That's what it is. It's always trying to put me on the defensive. And I'm not going to be put on the defensive. You know? My blog is free. The extended version of my book is free. None of these videos are monetized. They're free. You know? And I do a lot of fucking work. I spent $14,000 publishing that book to get that information out there. Haven't even come close to raising that much from the sales of that book, let alone anything ahead of it. You know? I don't feel bad. That blog is from 2011. My blog is older than this channel, and this channel is over 15 years old. Never once asked for anything. The last couple of years I've started to ask because everybody asks, you know? But at the same time, they're telling me, go get a job, you're a bum. They're breaking into my fucking house and they're making videos of my house blowing up and burning down and me being lynched. Those are their favorite things. And screenshots of their favorite, of those, you know? Well, I'm not going to get into a conversation about money. They're going to want money for my taxes, and I'm going to have to give them money if I'm going to get a computer, you know? But I'm just warning people, when that happens, after that happens, I want to start gravitating away from these fucking child killers. I'm sick of dealing with it. I'm sick of talking about it. I don't see where it goes anywhere, you know? And I think showing people how to sew and all of that, actually, and giving instructions and stuff, and just talking about real world stuff, you know? I think it would be fun. And I think that there's a lot of interesting people on here that actually might benefit from that. More so than me droning on and on and on about the same shit I drone on and on and on about all the time. You know? Thank you, Sandra. I don't charge for, I'm asking for help because I need it. But I give away all of it. Thank you. Thank you. With that said, I'm going to pray. But I'm just telling you guys that, here, I'll give you a little preview. So, okay. This is my old sewing machine. It's just a really old one. It's all basic. But then I have my table up here. And so I'll be cutting stuff. And I'll be sitting on the other side sewing. I'll figure it out. I just think it'll be more positive. And talk about things, have people ask about how to deal with stuff, how they deal with stuff, and having interaction. I think that's where I just want to go. That's just where I want to focus on. I am getting ready to set up a GoFundMe. It's already set up. I just haven't done anything with it. I set it up, but I got to do a video. I got to do stuff to talk about. And, but I just think it's a better way to go. Leave a comment if you have a comment, suggestion, like and subscribe. Hey, Susan. So, if I can get, because it's not like I was a bum. I got last year's taxes paid. But when I fell behind, but the whole year, I got slammed with this big tax bill. And they murdered Owen. And that just, dealing with them murdering Owen and then bragging about it was just, it was hard to deal with. It was a heartbreaking crisis kind of situation. But I got last year's paid. But I'm going to do the fundraising, and then I'm going to, if I can raise what I want, I am going to get a laptop, that way I can do the whole thing. But I'm going to go to sewing. I'm going to talk about real life stuff. People can ask questions about how I got through stuff. They can give suggestions on how they got through stuff. I think that if we all came together as almost like kind of a support thing, and just, but I need to, thinking that all my life is all about these fucking child killers is exhausting. Is exhausting. And so I think that, and still, I'm not going to charge for this stuff. I'm just going to do the sewing stuff and show people stuff that they want for free. I'll try and start doing artwork. And, but now that I've turned this room, I had to move my studio out of the 3-season porch. It was going to get too cold in there. And I have a studio down in my basement that I redid. When I moved into this house, it was just a basement. But I turned it into something so I could have my studio down there. And, but it's still a basement and it's dark. This room has 2 windows. So it's nice to actually work in sunlight. And I think that sewing just might be a good thing. I know how to do it. It's a dying art. I think people might like it. It's not like I'm going to do a project on every live, obviously. But I think that it'll just be something nice. I don't know what to do with Neil Gross. I don't know what to do with Neil Gross. People know about Neil Gross. Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff, they know about him, and people out here know about the whole meth operation. I didn't even know about the meth operation that they were all involved with until people started watching my videos and then coming and telling me about the meth operation, because I made a big deal about the early Iowa gas station explosion, which he helped them hide, and that's the reason why I kind of I need a break from all of this, because you know how frustrating it is? The early Iowa gas station explosion. The official report doesn't even compare it. The official report and the video that was done that day reporting on it are conflicting. That one is a lie and one is the truth, and it's the official story is a lie. He helped them hide that, and it was a terrorist attack. They tried to murder me, you know? And he's been helping them the whole time. But of course, because they have him by the short and curlies, because he's running that meth operation. They're doing shit down, I guess, at there's a big thing going on at the trailer park in town and all that. There's just... Again, is it wrong to want to go to a different pasture? You know? I just think that talking about all this shit all the time isn't it a downer? It's a downer for me. You know? It's just focusing on it. And I have so many other more important things that I have to focus on. But part of me is, again, I'm going to go with the sewing thing. I'm going to start doing stuff and showing people how to set up their sewing machine and actually how to sew, and how to cut, stuff like that. All the while we can be talking about real life agenda and what it's like to be a survivor. Because artwork, to get through what we went through as children and the abuse and the trauma, artwork is really, really a good way to channel those emotions and to channel focus. And I think that it would be much more important. But I usually want to stay to 45 minutes with these, so I'm going to pray and then I'm going to get off here. Heaven, we come to you as your children. I come to you as your child. I'm overwhelmed, but I think that a lot of us are. Financially, money, groceries is hard enough, but this tax bill, you know my heart. You know that I'm losing sleep, but I think that a lot of us are losing sleep. We are definitely at a time where there is a great gnashing of teeth. So I just ask to keep me on the path, help me, and help us all. I want to become a beacon to try and help people get through this whole situation so that people don't lose hope. But in turn, I have to make sure I don't lose hope. So it's easier said than done. But we're in rough days. And I just hope that you can use me as an example of one who didn't hide their light under a bushel and actually tried to illuminate the way for others, and in turn have them help illuminate the way for me, because we all need each other. And so we love you. All glory goes to you and your Son, Jesus, and solidified the word, and for that we're eternally grateful. And we say these things gratefully and lovingly in your Son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Yeah, the stress level has been. I got a focus. I don't think you were here, Susan, so I'll give you a quick thing. This is what I did. So my sewing machine, and then I have a table up here that I can do cuttings on. And it works as for these podcasts. I can do the podcasts, but then I can also do the sewing, and I just hope to inspire people. So, And again, I watch these podcasts and everyone asks for contributions. You know, everyone that I've seen. So I don't really feel bad. But if you can't, don't feel obligated. And again, I don't charge for my stuff. You know, I don't charge for the blog. And I charge for the book only because I have to pay for the book. Amazon doesn't give that stuff away for free. But I'll put the links. PayPal and Venmo are just at Shurter. So it's my first initial of my last name. Rabbit Hole. I sell them for $30 in the United States. If you want one, again, PayPal, Venmo, just tell me where I'm sending it and who I'm inscribing it to. And then I'll do the buy me a coffee link. Anything helps, because right now, groceries, oh my God, everything is like $7. So eating has just been, and yes, I could go to the food bank, but I feel like everyone is hurting out here, especially considering the soybeans are down 51%. And so people are hurting out here. I feel like I'm taking food away from families. And so, I don't know. We live in a weird world now. A weird world. That's why I think we all need to come together and support each other as much as we can. And I'll try and fix this. This light is great for in here, but it's a bit much behind my head. It's all a learning curve, actually. Everything is new in this room, and it's a bit tight still, so. Okay, I will be back in on Tuesday, unless they do something grievous to me. Thank you, everyone. If you have any comments, if you don't like that I'm going to switch kind of the focus of these videos, just let me know. You know, I'm open. It's just, I'm so sick and tired of dealing with these child killers all the time. And so I've given myself to where until I can raise enough to pay off the taxes and get that computer, I'm going to keep doing it because I'm afraid they're going to fuck me any way they can. But after that happens, I'm going to go to a lighter note so that I'm not bringing people down, you know? Doesn't it get tiring listening to all this shit that they do to me? But I think it's important that I did these videos because this is the shit that they do to everyone. I just have been able to document. And so I think that's important. But with that said, I'm going to get off here. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.